Have you always wanted to visit India, but the hassle of planning and the intensity of group schedules is putting you off? Hi, I'm Craig, owner and tour leader of Maharaja Tours. With 40 years experience traveling India, I curate stress-free luxury tours where you can expect top hotels, easy travel, excellent guides, and delicious food. Visit my website, www.maharajatours.co.nz, and explore your options for touring incredible India.
All right. Now, earlier this week, can I say, over the weekend, I think it was, I came across an article to do with the death of two young girls. And I have to say it was a death that sent shudders through me as a parent of children roughly the same age, because it was a coronial inquiry into two 18-year-old girls who had driven drunk, essentially, taken through a mountain trek in Nelson, in the Mount Richmond Forest Park, last April 2024. And then their ute had rolled off because they lost control in the dark, and it had rolled 100 metres down a steep bank. They were both thrown from the vehicle because they weren't wearing seatbelts. Of course they weren't, and they were killed. And the coronial inquiry under Coroner Peter Ryan came out this week indicating all those things, that the toxicology reports, the videos, and the nature of it was such that they were both 3 times over the adult limit, blood alcohol limit, and they had died. And it's a tragic tale. And I think, quite an important tale, actually, at the end of this story for all parents of 18-year-olds going, yes, that's what 18-year-olds can do. All right. But the really weird thing about that is that although it was well reported at the time, and indeed I can go right now onto the Stuff website, read an April 11th article of 2024, which is headlined, God Got Two Beautiful Girls, Tributes for Teens Killed in Off-Road Crash, and there's a photo of both of them and their names. The coroner decided to suppress the names of this pair. And that was the latest in a long line of what seemed to the rest of us quite odd and strange suppression orders that are now coming, not just from the coronial court, but from district courts and high courts, which seem predicated on the belief, I have to say, that we should not know, when I always considered, I'm sure I was taught at law school myself, that the conduct of justice must be open and transparent, because that's the way you engender trust in the process. If it isn't, then the people lose trust in the process, and the law and justice loses its legitimacy. Obviously, I'm wrong. To help me through this odd and strange movement towards name suppression, which seems to be popping up like Popsy all over the place at the moment and causing, I have to say, a great deal of consternation, we're joined by Judge David Harvey. And Judge, thank you so much for joining us. Lovely to have you on the show again.
Thank you, Michael. I'm a former Auckland Law School academic. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. If you had Eru Kappa-Kingi standing beside you on Monday morning and all this had broken, what would you be thinking?
Probably nothing. Because, you see, difficult situation. Point one, he's employed by the Auckland Law School. That's fine. Point two, I'm probably more of a free speech absolutist than anything else. And even although I violently disagree, well, no, not violently, because I wouldn't punch him on the nose because I disagree with him, but I'd argue with him. I disagree with his particular point of view. He's entitled to say it, Michael.
No, he's not entitled to racially abuse security officers. That's why he lost his job at Parliament, David.
Well, no, that's why, no, somebody got scared and intimidated by him at Parliament. That's why he lost his job.
No, if you behave like that in any workforce and you racially abuse people and you swear at them and you are physically intimidatory, you lose your job. I mean, that's not free speech, David.
Okay, all right, okay.
Is it? Seriously?
No, it's not polite speech, Michael.
So you'd still let somebody have their job even if they did that to you in your employ? Like someone
Yeah,
wondering when your clerks, for example, in your district
yeah.
court.
Let's put it this way. I've been in a position where I have been racially abused, and I could have enforced a consequence for it. But I have Nelson's ear as far as that's concerned. If you can get the
Yeah, no,
analogy.
well, well, maybe that's that kind of moral absence that is driving Auckland Law School at the moment, because I don't know how you could possibly put that person in front of a whole series of Auckland Law School when his views about white people are so obvious. But okay,
One
you
would
and I will
hope that the
disagree.
Auckland Law School students would argue back.
Oh, yeah, right. I mean, that's one of the
It's
most
it's
intimidatory places in New Zealand, in actual fact. No law school student's going to take on their law lecturer in the first year at a compulsory course, are they, David?
but they should. Otherwise, they shouldn't be studying law. Law is all about argument,
Mm. Law is
as you
about
know.
following mathematical processes, as far as I can see. And what's certainly not about justice, which is what they also teach you at law school. This is not about justice, this is about the law, they say. I think I got that ad
Yes.
nauseum when I
Yeah,
was a first year
law
law
and
student.
justice are not compatible
Well, there you
with
go.
one.
And well, you and I can disagree on that one, but let's move on to the second issue, of course, which is suppression.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
please explain why a coroner would grant suppression to do with his findings, Coroner Peter Ryan, when I can just Google, and so can everybody else, the names, the photos, the backgrounds of these two 18-year-olds that lost their lives last April?
Yeah, it sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because the information's already out there. It's in the public domain, and yet there's an order preventing its publication. And the only basis that I can see for doing that is to prevent mainstream media, which is seen as the sort of ultimate source of all information these days. And I'll deal with that in just a moment. But to prevent mainstream media from reporting what's happened. And to give you an example of that, you may remember the injunction that was made by Justice Cull in the Tom Phillips case,
Yeah.
where the order prevented mainstream media, police, and Oranga Tamariki from disclosing certain information that they had in their control. Now, it didn't suppress, it didn't stop discussion outside of mainstream media. So you see, the target, as I see it, particularly for suppression orders and so on and so forth, is mainstream media. Now, what that's based on is a problem that the law has, particularly relating to suppression, because our suppression laws were enacted and developed in an entirely different environment from what we're living in today. So they were looking at television, radio, and newspapers as being the primary source of information. That's gone. That doesn't happen anymore. Public confidence in news media has declined to the 30% level. The public gets its information, be it valid or invalid, from other sources. And those other sources are trusted more or relied upon more. And unfortunately, the law sometimes tries to restrict it, but can't as far as suppression is concerned. Now, the coroner is acting within the powers that he has under law to make a suppression order, but by the same token, he and many others like him um, attract a certain amount of laughter, if you like, because they're not actually keeping up with what's going on in the world around them. It's difficult to work out why they do this. The laws relating to suppression are really out of date when you consider what they are designed to do. And
Well, can I just ask this question of you, David?
sure,
We're talking about two. This is an extreme case, I would think, but then it is an extreme case, and that is the Coronial Court decision on suppressing the names of these two 18-year-olds. I can now personally go on to Stuff and read an article written by Nadine Roberts and Maxine Jacobs, who the journalists who wrote it, dated the 11th of April 2024, and see the names and the photos of the two young girls. I'm looking at it right now. And there you go. The suppression order is essentially null and void, because there they are, there's their votes, there's their background, there are the views of their family and friends. Stuff have got that up right now on their website. So have the New Zealand Herald, Radio New Zealand at the time. Those articles are still remaining at the time, and yet this is a suppression order. Are they breaking the suppression order by publishing this?
Have you always wanted to visit India, but the hassle of planning and the intensity of group schedules is putting you off? Hi, I'm Craig, owner and tour leader of Maharaja Tours. With 40 years experience traveling India, I curate stress-free luxury tours where you can expect top hotels, easy travel, excellent guides, and delicious food. Visit my website www.maharajatours.co.nz and explore your options for touring incredible India.